All set, Pam? Okay, I'll call the Village Board of Trustees meeting for the Village of Victor, April 19th, 2021 to order. And please rise for the pledge to the flag. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome, board members. Diane, John Turner. Welcome to the public if you're watching tonight on YouTube. And welcome to Reed. Reed, are you out there?
I am. Hello.
Good to see you, Reed.
And you.
Okay, first and foremost, we have a public hearing tonight for hopefully the adoption of the 2021-2022 fiscal budget. And Pam, would you, what's that?
Start the recorder. For a minute, hang on. You gotta pull the button down on the side, the other side. Pull the button down.
Then hit record.
Yep.
There we go.
Notice is hereby given that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Victor will meet at the Village Hall, 60 East Main Street, Victor, New York, on the 19th day of April, 2021, at 7 p.m. for the purpose of holding a public hearing on the tentative budget of said village for the fiscal year beginning June 1st, 2021. A copy of said tentative budget is available at the office of the village clerk located at 60 East Main Street during the hours of 8:30 a.m. and 4:30 p.m. for the purpose of inspection by interested parties. The compensation proposed to be paid is as follows: Mayor, $11,118, Deputy Mayor, $7,805, Trustees, $6,691. Due to code restrictions, seating is limited. Please contact the village clerk at 585-924-3311 if you would like to attend. This public hearing will also be live streamed via YouTube with questions and commenting available.
Thank you, Pam. So before we begin, I want to remind the public, if you are watching on YouTube, that you can ask questions. If you do so, please be patient with us. Technology-wise, we're somewhat behind the times, and we're trying to fix that. But it may take us a little bit of time. So, with that, I'd like to ask for a motion to open the public hearing.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Bob, second by Carol. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Public hearing is open. And I'd like to start with some comments regarding the budget, and then I will turn it over to our treasurer, Diane White. And then we'll have a comment period from the board and see if anybody in the public wants to comment. If you are watching and you don't want to comment tonight, you have comments, I guess you can write them in or email them in, but we are planning on passing the budget unless we hear otherwise tonight. So in our in a recent newsletter essay, there were some comments about our budgets situation from last year and relating to this year. So I would like to try and clear that up with some factual information that the treasurer, Diane White, has provided. So our tentative tax rate is at 381, and that is at the calculated tax cap. It's up 5 cents from the current rate, which is $3.76 per thousand of assessed value. So in last year's budget, one of the issues brought up is that there was a formation of Victor Fire District. And we therefore gave up some of the fiscal responsibility as well as other responsibility to the new fire district. They became their own taxing entity. And we received information from Ed Grant from the Rochester Regional Office of the State Controller's Office. And we were instructed by Mr. Grant to lower our tax cap calculation from, at that time, $4.36 per thousand down to $3.76 per thousand due to the transfer of the services to the fire district. So that is exactly what we did. The fire department accounted for actually 86 cents per thousand of the $4.36, not 97 cents per thousand, which was reported in the newspaper essay. And prior to the transfer of the services, the village used $122,000 from reserves for street maintenance to avoid raising village taxes. And I believe that was for our Moore Avenue, Dryer Avenue, Webster Avenue project, which is ongoing this year. After the transfer of the services, therefore, we did not have to draw from our savings. And then another thing that influenced our actual final tax amount was that this year we hired a code enforcement officer, if you will, / public works maintenance assistant. Those are two separate part-time positions. And they have been filled with the hiring of one individual. And we did this, we were able to do this and stay under the tax cap calculation for this year's budget. And I'm going to back up a step. Last year's budget, when we actually abolished the code enforcement part-time position and we shared services with the town of Victor for code enforcement, $5,000 was the cost of that over the time period for sharing service. So that's equivalent to about 11 cents per thousand. And then 28,000 went to, or 121,000 went to the street projects. So when you look at 376 versus 436, that's why there's a difference in the math, because we had expenses coming and we knew we did. And the way we covered them is the way I have explained it. So the essay also stated that the village mayor and the trustees blamed the pandemic for budget shortfalls. But really, in reality, our fiscal responsibility during the pandemic evidenced that village services remained at the levels our residents have come to expect. We didn't have to cut services other than the code enforcement position, which we took care of with a sharing service with the town. There were no employee layoffs or reduction in wages, and the road maintenance remained on schedule during the first year of the pandemic. So as initially reported in the essay, there was a 38 cents per thousand discrepancy if you went by the 97 cents per thousand reported for the fire services. And it is reported in the essay that that much, 38 cents per thousand, was unaccounted for in the budget for last year. As our treasurer has stated, she is willing to speak with anybody who may still have questions after tonight about last year's budget or this year's budget. And the budget, I I am confident is available online. You can go to victornewyork.org, click on the village, and find the budget. It's also here in a hard copy at Village Hall. And one last comment I might make is the feeling of a sense of community and purpose among residents begins with fully understanding the facts. Communicating face to face instead of behind social media conversation, and working with as opposed to opposing honest and respectable village residents elected to the village board. I can't take claim for that statement. That was our treasurer's statement. And I appreciate the compliment she paid to us. But I would reiterate, a face-to-face interaction is what I strive for. And I think the board prefers as well, so that things don't get out of context in social media or other avenues. We're always happy to talk with anyone face-to-face. And as the COVID situation moves in the right direction, those opportunities increase. And one final comment I'll make: this year, the village decided to pass a resolution to override the tax cap as a precautionary measure because we were very close to the tax cap, within $1,000 of the tax cap. So that was the reason that we passed to override. The $1,000 could easily be an error in calculation, a wrong digit for a number, who knows? That's a very slim margin, so we wanted to be precautionary and be prepared just in case we had made a mistake, which I don't believe we have at this point. So those are my comments regarding the essay and the factual and the presentation of the facts in the essay. I hope there was some clarification to it. And if there are any questions, I'm happy to answer to anybody, face-to-face, phone call, email, and I believe Diane White, our treasurer at Village Hall, would also entertain questions or comments. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Diane to speak a little more in depth about the budget.
All right, good evening. As Gary had mentioned, the current tax rate is $3.76 per thousand, and we're proposing to raise it 5 cents to $3.
You're on mute.
On mute.
Okay, sorry about that. As Gary has stated, the current tax rate is $3.76 per thousand, and we're proposing to raise it a nickel to $3.81 per thousand. Looking at wages and salary increases, there's going to be a 3% wage increase to all positions except for the Board of Trustees. The Board of Trustees feels that they are here not for the salary, but to better the community. And also, as Gary mentioned, we added a full-time code enforcement / public works maintenance assistance position with full benefits. Moving along to road projects. We're going to continue with phase 2 of the Moore, Dreyer, Webster Avenue intersection reconstruction. We're using $174,000 that had been set aside in the project account, and John's team will be doing asphalt, gutters, and drainage this year. On Lionel Road, we're going to repair some drainage and curbing for about $32,000. And we're looking to repave the north parking lot for about $30,000. That's like located behind the town hall. And John Turner needs to recycle some concrete for $33,000. Other DPW projects are, we're going to construct a gateway sign
at the village line by Victor Insulator and State Route 444. That costs $4,000. And we're going to repair a culvert in Jacob's Landing near Woodworth Street for $5,100. We're going to make some equipment purchases using our equipment reserve. We use our reserves so we can even out our tax rate, keep that at an even rate, and still make these major purchases without increasing the tax rate. We're looking to purchase a backhoe for $119,000. Purchase a loader for $207,000. And replace a pickup truck for $32,000. With that, we are going to make contributions to the reserve, to the equipment reserve, $187,000, to the street reserve, $82,000, and to the computer reserve, $3,000. We'd also like to do some upgrades at the village hall. We need one new desktop computer for $1,100. We would like to do automatic remote backup for $1,200 annually. We'd like to make our front doors handicap accessible for $12,000. And we'd also like to upgrade our fire system and annual monitoring for $1,000. So with all that, we would simply like to raise the tax rate 5 cents per thousand. That's in the general fund. Moving on to the water fund, there'll be no rate increase to the water rate. And then we are going to contribute to the water reserve $7,000. Onto the sewer fund. Again, there will be no rate increase to the sewer fee. We're going to put $285,000 toward the wastewater treatment upgrade to the UV disinfectant and digestive cover project. And we'll also set aside $18,000 to the equipment reserve. I would also like to add that in that article that Gary was speaking about earlier, they stated that the village had $1.4 million in our unreserved fund balance and why we weren't using that to lower taxes. We're going to use some of that money, that I'm thinking $1 million toward the wastewater treatment plant upgrade for the UV disinfectant and digestive cover project, which we hope to go out to bid sometime later this year. And I think that's all I have, unless anyone has any questions.
Thank you, Diane. Before I open it up to the board, I just want to back up to my statement about the fact that we had no layoffs during the pandemic. I want to make sure I'm clear on this. We did abolish the position of code enforcement officer during the pandemic, but it was not a layoff. We actually abolished the position and shared the services with the town in an effort to attempt to save costs, because the environment at that time was totally up in the air, as I think everyone would understand. And we did not know what kind of demand we were going to have for code enforcement. Right at the time we did this, there was practically no demand. We didn't know how long it would last. There were just too many questions, so we decided to abolish the position, share the service, use it as we needed it, and then revisit it during this budget year, which is what we have done. So I just wanted to be clear with the public on that. Thank you, Diane, for all the information on the budget. And at this time, I'll open it up to the board for any comments or questions that anybody on the board might have regarding the budget.
Diane, I would just say just another outstanding job. Thanks. It's something, certainly I don't have a skill set for it, so I greatly appreciate the work you do. I think we did a great job during the pandemic. One thing, not about this budget, but I think we need to look at the next budget is, how we can make our room video presentable. So I think we got to start considering that now. I think we'll make it through this pandemic, but who knows what the future brings. And, it doesn't seem like a lot of people interact with us live. We've been working through this step by step since November to interact with the public, and they don't interact with us live, but they appear to watch it, later at later times. So if there's some way, I know the town is wired up in some way to videotape better than we are. So that would be my only recommendation, again, for a future budget, or if there's any way we can sneak it in this year with all the miracles you work. So,
I tried, but
but
thank you,
no,
Mike.
another outstanding job. Thank you.
Appreciate hearing that. Thank you, Mike.
Mike, I appreciate the comment about the technology and the upgrade that we would like to do so that we could stay live stream for the public, because I have had emails from people and comments from people that they appreciate that. And it makes a lot of sense. I think after the pandemic, everybody's now used to YouTube and Zoom and all these technological ways to communicate, and that would be a good idea for us to do. I will add that the challenge this year, besides the fact our budget's kind of finished, but again, to your point, Diane does know how to find things when we need them, and she's very good with the budget. But our room, one of the reasons we haven't pursued it immediately is our room is not set up quite like the town of Vickers. We don't have the capacity here. So during a pandemic situation where you're supposed to be 6 feet apart, it's very limited how many people we can have in the room. And therefore, we don't even have all the board in one spot, which over at the town, I believe the camera that they purchased, which was fairly expensive, pans the board, the whole board, and they all are up there on the podium. So it's a little different situation for them than it is for us. But I think going into the future, we absolutely need to pursue it, and we'll find a way to get it done. Okay, just wanted to add that comment. So anybody else on the board have any thoughts or comments?
Gary, I'd just like to say something for the record. I mean, I think as a village that we are very fortunate to have a treasurer and clerk that are as experienced as we have, and for the work that they've done all through the pandemic and helping to prepare the budget. I think we and the citizens of the village are very fortunate. And the same thing applies to the director of public works. I think we have the best director of public works in Ontario County. That's my opinion. And I think there are a lot of people that I talk to that share that opinion. And he has a great staff. I mean, when I look at the people that have been working and how experienced they are and the kind of work that they do, I mean, I am very appreciative as a citizen of the village of Victor. I mean, they're customer service oriented, they're resourceful, they do all kinds of work. And just driving down Main Street today and seeing the amount of trash that was put out for large trash pickup, it's incredible that they can get down that street and clear out the amount of trash that is put out for that. And anywhere else, you wouldn't have that service, or you'd be paying $100, $200 per household just to pick up a yard full of trash. And there are places that had enough trash, it would have taken $200 for easily to pick it up. So I think that the employees of the Village of Victor really make our village government. And as I look around and as I talk to people from the village, they are very appreciative for the services that they receive.
Well said, well said. And I think I can speak for the rest of the board. We echo those comments. Anybody else? Any other comments? Pam, I'll ask you, any comments from the public?
No, sir.
And I know that this was advertised publicly, that it was open to the public in person, face to face. We do not have any residents here to speak tonight.
Pam, is it safe to assume nobody requested to come?
No.
Okay.
So as far as we know, we do not have opposition to the budget at this point. So I will ask for a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Carol,
I can second that.
second by Michelle. Any further discussion or questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? None. So the public hearing is now closed. Now we have before us the resolution for the 2021-2022 fiscal budget adoption. So is there a motion to adopt?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Mike,
I'll second it.
second by Bob. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? None. So resolved that the Village of Victor Board of Trustees adopts the proposed budget for the fiscal year 2021-2022 as presented.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Diane.
Thanks, Diane.
You're not going to stay? Drive carefully.
All right, thank you.
I know you want to stay. I just know it.
I might tune in on my way home.
Okay. Next is the clerk's report.
Okay, I have a resolution to accept the meeting minutes from our April 5th meeting.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Mike,
I can second that.
second by Michelle. Any questions or comments on those minutes? Okay, hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None.
And I have a resolution to accept the payment of bills, abstract number 22.
A motion,
I'll make the motion.
motion by Carol,
I'll second it.
second by Bob. Any questions on the abstract? Did anybody have any that Diane answered?
Yeah, I had one that she answered.
What was that on, Mike?
The return of the fireplace permit.
Oh, yeah.
Apparently the people built a house but didn't do the fireplace.
Yeah, decided not to do the fireplace. Okay, if there's no other questions or comments, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None.
And I have a resolution to accept the organizational meeting and liaisons. So I guess just a couple things that are a little different than the usual. As far as code enforcement is, we didn't appoint a code enforcement officer at this meeting. He's on a 6-month probation, and then next April, he'll be appointed yearly. So again, he's doing a great job. We're so happy. And so he's really working out well. Very enthusiastic, very thorough, spends a lot of time back there researching and reading and asking us questions when he needs to and asking JT questions. Terry's last day was last Thursday, but of course he put it out there that he's willing to help out anytime, any of us need him, whether it's Todd or us or John or whoever. So he was a great help to us. Really, really helped us out a lot. And as far as, so the only other thing that's different, the zoning board appointments, somehow with people coming and going, there was 3 people on the zoning board that were up for appointments this year. So I talked to Sean Sanderson and he checked with the other members. So how it's going to be is Sean is going to be appointed for 3 years. Dave Chalupa is going to be appointed for 2 years. Tim Stone's going to be appointed for 1 year, and then we'll get the appointments staggered again, like they should have been. So other than that, oh yeah, and so for the clerk and the director of public works and the treasurer, we all got appointed the same year. So that could be a problem at some point, not this year, but it could happen that it wouldn't be a good scenario. So what we talked about, what we decided was the clerk should always run with the mayor. So I'm going to do the 2 year like usual, expires in 23. John and Diane are going to take 1 year appointments this year. And then next year they'll be appointed for 2 years. So the 3 of us will be split up. John and Diane will run together. I'll run with the mayor's election. And other than that, I'm pretty sure, and if you want to look over the liaisons a little bit, the only thing we really changed was we moved Mike to be the Victor Community Development Office liaison. And
Yeah, I've never seen that third party electric.
Yeah, that was when Doug came. And we do use, those 3 have to be used anyways. It hasn't been a problem at all.
Right.
So every time Todd issues a building permit that has anything to do with electrical, he staples these 3 people's names and phone numbers so that they know, that the residents know that's who they need to contact for their electrical inspection. And that's all I have.
My phone's about ready to die here. Thanks, Pam. So just for the benefit of the public, while we're doing this, before we go into this resolution, this is our annual organizational meeting. It's usually the first meeting in April. Since I was away for that first meeting, we decided to postpone it till this meeting. And as Pam has stated, there's a lot of positions that get appointed. The clerks get appointed. John Turner as DPW director, Diana White as treasurer. And the staggering of those terms makes an awful lot of sense, I think, as well as the zoning board people that were all 3 of them up for 1 year. I'm glad you guys caught that, Pam.
And I will just mention one more thing, because this is new this year too. We've always had, for Labor Day, the first meeting in September has always been moved to the second week in September. And then we have our third meeting, the third week is our second meeting, like always, first and third. But in September, it's always been the second Monday and the third Monday. And we're not going to do that anymore, because if the holiday falls on a Monday, we're having our meetings on Tuesday. And that also goes with that meeting in September. So that used to always be on here too, and now that's been taken off.
Okay. We'll make that clear anyways as time draws near.
Yep.
Other things in there, just very quickly for the benefit of the public. The Village Hall summer hours, they change in the months of July and August. That's in there. It changes, instead of 8:30 to 4:30, it changes to 8 to 4. The official newspaper is still the Daily Messenger. Official depository is any bank or trust company licensed to do business in the state of New York. Custodian of the lockbox is the treasurer. Village attorney appointment. That is a 1 year. Village Engineering Firm, which is a 1 year. We currently have MRB as our engineering firm. Village Financial Consultant. We do have someone to consult with on the budget and other any financial issues. That is a 1 year term. Village Insurance Agent, 1 year term. Deputy Mayor is an appointment I make. That's a 1 year term. It's currently Mike Crowley. Urban Renewal Agency. It's a 3 year term for all of them.
Only one was up this.
Okay, we talked about the zoning board, the village clerk, Department of Public Works, treasurer, part-time clerk is a 1 year appointment. And designation of the Victor Chamber of Commerce as coordinator to promote tourism in Victor. And then the mileage rate for village officials. Investment policy, procurement policy. Comprehensive Emergency Management Plan Committee. Standard workday and reporting resolution for elected and appointed officials for retirement purposes for anyone who's in the retirement system. And then, of course, the liaisons. That's it for the organizational. Is anybody on the board? Well, let me ask first for a motion on the resolution to accept.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Michelle. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mike. Any further questions or comments on the organizational meeting resolution? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Anything else, Pam?
That's all I have.
Director of Public Works, patient man, Mr. Turner.
First thing I have is enter into an intermunicipal agreement with the fire department for some site improvements this year.
We all have a copy of that, right?
Reed's reviewed it. Fire department's attorneys reviewed it.
Can you just kind of
Go through it. So what they're going to do, they propose to redoing the parking lot over there. So as we're doing the milling and paving of Moore Ave and the north parking lot to help reduce some of the costs, we're going to utilize the equipment while it's in the village to do the upgrades to the fire department parking lot. And there might be some site work too that's involved with it, a little bit of drainage, but everything, just like we do with the school district, we'll just back charge them for all the costs, material and labor.
So a good shared service agreement, basically,
Mhm.
but we need an intermunicipal agreement to do that from a legal standpoint, and that's why we're doing this tonight. Thanks, John. Is there a motion for entering into the intermunicipal agreement with the fire district for site improvement?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Mike,
I'll second it.
second by Bob. Anybody have any other questions for John or comments about the agreement? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None.
So the next thing I got, and I know there was some talk about some high bills on the abstract for the arms. It's the wastewater treatment plant, so I'm gonna give you guys sort of an update. Tomorrow, we have a meeting with the DEC at 4 p.m., a web meeting. The DEC right now is putting us behind the gun, as you would say, because they want more data at the wastewater treatment plant to suffice for the UV upgrades. The problem that we're having is the plant right now, we received a letter from the EPA a couple days ago. We were out of compliance 3 times in the past year because the equipment is starting to fail. And this is what the upgrades was supposed to be doing, is improving our quality of water. So they want better data, but we can't provide them better data because the plant is not producing. It's not working the way it should be working right now without these upgrades. So I think that's what that meeting is really about tomorrow, is to hash this out between MRV, the village, and the DEC, and get this thing moving, get it going. 'Cause it's not gonna be fixed in 2 days. You're probably talking about a year project down there to do all these upgrades.
When you say water quality, Jen, you mean the effluent coming out of the plant after it's been treated?
Right.
And we've been talking about these upgrades for a long time, several years, and we budgeted for them. And we tried to bid them and the bids came in way too high, so we had to back off and rebid it. And then COVID hit and, one thing after another has slowed this project down. So I'm in hopes that we can finally convince the DEC to, we have some parts for temporary repairs. Let us make them and then, understand that our readings aren't going to be what you're looking for. We can't possibly do that until we make the improvements to the plant. And we can't make improvements until the DEC says we can go ahead and make the improvements. That's the situation we're in, and hopefully we discuss all that tomorrow. I'm gonna sit in on that call myself and appreciate your
Yep.
work
Just,
on it.
like I say, I just wanted, because I know it was pretty pricey, but we've been putting it off and been putting it off, thinking that we would have the upgrades up and going. Well, guess what? We don't. So now we have to get the parts to fix it. We did complete our trash today. There's some small odds and ends that are still out there, some metal, and brush. Going to be doing another repair, hopefully on Route 96 tomorrow at the corner of High Street in Maine on another manhole barrel. And finish the sidewalks over in the north parking lot. Letters have been sent to all the residents and business owners on North Parking Lot and Moore Ave. Our state start date is May 10th. We were gonna hold off until after Mother's Day because of the florist back there. Other than that, that's all I have. And you guys probably heard about the news that we might get some snow Wednesday night, Tuesday night. So just somebody to know.
Back on go the plan.
We might have to tomorrow afternoon. So that's all I had, unless you got any questions.
Good thing is we probably got plenty of salt.
Oh, we got plenty of salt. Yeah, we went through 700 ton this year. That wasn't too bad.
Do we know how many, was it tons or trucks of large trash came out over the 3-week period?
Not the 3-week period, but just today was our busiest. I mean, the guys, we didn't finish.
Okay.
I mean, we got the garbage up.
Mhm.
So we have 1, 2, 3. We took one down. So right now we got 3 loaded roll-offs. We took one down today. So that's 4 times 7, about 24 tons. And 3 garbage trucks went down today. So there's another 10 tons. We did probably 60 ton today.
Wow.
Yeah, it was probably the biggest one. Usually it doesn't last all day long, but.
And a lot of it got picked up before today.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Mhm.
we found quite a bit of it going down Church Street, headed out of the village.
Really?
Well, the scrappers come in over the weekend.
Oh, yeah.
So they must have scrapped and took off that way to Elko because it's over towards Maston.
Right.
Must have blew out of the back of their truck. It was all the way down County Road 9, right to Kensington Court.
Oh, my goodness.
So we picked it up this afternoon. Yeah, it's I don't know how people accumulate so much trash between last fall and this spring in the wintertime. It's mind-boggling.
I think it's also the fact that, maybe you put off doing that in the fall for some reason, something came up and you couldn't get, the hoe out done. So now you're saying, okay, it's spring, let's get it done now. So maybe that's.
Well, I could see like last fall because of the COVID, you know, everybody's stuck home. Okay, let's clean the house. Let's get all this stuff out of here. But I mean, we did
September
it.
to
in-
now.
Yeah, I mean, 3 months, 4 months, and I mean, it's just amazing how much trash it is. But it's up, gone.
Thanks, JT.
Yep.
Trustee reports, anybody?
A little bit.
Okay, Carol?
As usual. Oh, sorry.
Okay, so 2 weeks ago, right after our last meeting, I met with Kathy Rayburn and we talked first of all about the facade project or the facade program. She didn't plan to offer COVID relief funds this year anyway. She didn't think that was needed. And we talked a little bit about the program in general and decided to pause it this year. Those buzzwords. We weren't really sure how much after the year that some of the businesses have had, you know, how much they would really be into facade projects. So we're gonna look at it and, you know, maybe make some changes for next year. We did talk about the funds that you already committed funds to it as well as LDC. And we thought maybe a better use of those funds this year would be toward some of the revitalization projects. Maybe something that would benefit the whole community rather than just a few of the businesses. So we're going to start looking at that. And we did talk about the revitalization plan, and the committee as it stands right now is meeting tomorrow afternoon here at Village Hall to review the application that we prepared last year for the Downtown Revitalization Initiative grant, to see where we stand with that, if we have more work to do on it. Because it does look like the state will have some funds and might be offering the program this year. So we want to be ready for it. When it does come out.
Kathy monitors the, through some, Ed Flynn or somebody as to whether or not the funds are gonna come out,
Yes.
right? She keeps track of
Yeah.
that.
And it was in the state budget that they did earmark some funds.
Are you meeting here tomorrow?
Yes. Let's see. So tomorrow it'll just be the committee that we've had working on this. We will invite Lavella, either Ed Flynn or Mike Coquette, who helped us prepare the meeting to a future meeting to help guide us and the rest of it, and also hopefully provide a list of possible fund sources for some of the projects.
Carol, before you go on, I just want to say, I appreciate the fact that you guys are meeting and not reconsidering, but starting up again, because it wasn't our choice to stop the revitalization efforts.
Right.
COVID-19 made that decision for
Yes.
us. And we had to sit back and wait because the state of New York wasn't in a position to hand out anything for those kinds of programs. So we're hoping now that that will change.
We hope that will change, but we also have to, we're gonna have to start earmarking some money in our budget for this as well, and not just wait for the state to give us money. I've seen that in different, the webinar that I took about the community development grants. They want to see where else, you know, you try to get money or what you're putting in. If you don't put in the money yourself, you're kind of saying you're not very committed to the plan. So we do have to start looking at, you know, putting some of our own money into projects. And one of the things that we will talk about tomorrow is what we can do right now with what money we have between URA and LDC, and Diane said that there was a little bit of money that we had set aside last year for the grant application that could be available for something. We don't have to start with something big, just start with something small, but start something, get going on this. So we also talked about the committee, expanding the committee. We're at the point, we should get some of the businesses, invite if there are some of the business people that are interested in joining us, or somebody from the chamber, or just residents in general.
This is a great point. I've had that same discussion with Kathy, and here's a place where if residents or business owners want to get involved in local government, now's a great chance.
Yep.
There's a lot that goes into the planning of these projects and these just the applications alone.
Right.
And so if there's people out there with ideas and expertise, we would love to have you share it with us.
Yep. So people are welcome, and we will publicize, when we're having meetings and things like that. So, and then you were in that last week, and we talked about using some of our funds for revitalization projects this year. And it also came up that we talked about maybe having a workshop, if that can be arranged at some point, to get all the boards together in one place. Because this revitalization plan isn't going to happen with just URA or LDC. It's going to take everybody.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea if we can make that logistically happen, because all the boards are going to be affected.
Absolutely, yeah. So we said, maybe we could set something up at the town hall at some point in the future, and find a date and let's get everybody so everybody's on the same page where we are with the plan and where we want to go with it. So that came up at that meeting. And I think that's about it. I just had one other thing. I mentioned it, I was here last week, and I mentioned it to Pam and Diane. But I'd seen in the paper that there's a lot in the news lately about carjackings in the city, and some of them were due to people selling things on Craigslist, well, cars, I guess. A couple people in Livingston County had their cars stolen. One at gunpoint. The other one was a Craigslist sale, and the person let the supposed buyers take the car for a test drive. Of course, it never came back. So there was an article in the paper that some of the towns around have what they call like a safe exchange or a safe transaction zone. Someplace, like it might be town hall, village hall, someplace with a camera. Like our village hall parking lot.
Yeah.
People could come here if you're trying to sell something on Craigslist, rather than having someone come to your home. You meet here. Doesn't cost anything, and maybe just a sign or something.
Yeah, we have cameras, so
I'd like, I gotta hear Reed weigh in on that. If we're advocating people to come to the parking lot for their public transactions to be caught on our camera.
Well, yeah, okay. Okay, Reed is smiling. I don't know what Reed has to say about that.
any comment on it, Reed?
Yeah, let's not go there.
I can't hear.
Nope, I think I'm frozen here. Yeah, I have some reservations about it. I'm not sure if I'm frozen here.
Nope, we got it.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, y'all can turn up. I can't. I think they're waiting to hear your reservations, Reed. We have problems, we all get on the internet too. Like I've had some warnings pop up on my computer tonight.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, we can address it at a future meeting.
Right, it was just something I didn't know if we could explore or not, so. Okay. That's all I have.
So what's, just because Carol opened my door, so what's the general feel with the LDC and the Mickey Finn's thing and I mean, the LDC is on social media right now is a negative commodity. So I am still a very positive person towards the LDC, but I think they need to project communication better than they did in this scenario.
Oh, definitely.
So, you know.
On my phone. JG's got me hooked in.
I don't know. It should charge.
You have to be certain. I think you should hit your charge.
There's something to say.
Mine was.
See what I said?
I apologize. You can still hear me, right? Or did YouTube goes?
Well, certainly not for lack of effort, so.
They didn't manage his phone.
Thank you, Jill.
Yep.
So, in our discussion.
Well, yours is
about
frozen.
I know.
Well, I mean, it's a luxury, right? It's not a necessity. We can keep moving forward.
Yeah.
So does everybody here on the
I
board
mean,
know
nobody comes anyhow.
the situation with Mickey Finn and the LDC?
Yes,
Did you see Kathy's explanation
Yes.
of the
Yes.
facts behind it?
yes.
So I think to my point, information got out at the wrong time in the wrong way. That was not totally Kathy's issue. The owner of the business put something out that
Mhm.
he didn't really put out, but I also understand that it was a knee-jerk reaction because he felt he was being, mistreated by the LDC, but fact of the matter is, Bill's been through hell. He's been notified, he knows release, he's got a month, because the building owner allowed him to do that and offered him the right of first refusal on the sale of the building, so. And I want to say, categorically here, that it is not a done deal yet. It is not a done deal at all. There's a lot of hurdles that, would have to be overcome for the LDC to be able to purchase the building. So whether it really comes to fruition or not remains to be seen at this point. And I do feel bad for everybody involved, for the community, because it is causing a lot of confusion, and I feel bad for Nick, business owner, Finn's Tap Room. Everybody appreciates Finn's Tap Room. But I just hope that in the end, everything will work out okay. I can't offer anything better than that right now.
Well, I mean, I have a meeting with Kathy Friday and I'll ask her, but I mean, my whole thing is I don't understand why it was done in executive session. When her minutes came out, I asked her why she went into executive session. And that was 2 months ago. So if the building's for sale and the owner of the business knows it's for sale, why the need for executive session?
But don't we go into executive session under like real estate transactions or legal?
Well, the idea, well, okay, but what's the idea of it? The idea isn't just to hide because it's a real estate transaction, it's to maintain the competitive balance. But what I'm saying is, if the owner, if it's public knowledge, the owner has it for sale, which the retraction says it's been for sale for 3 years.
Right.
So if the LDC expresses interest in it, and somebody else comes in and says, no, I'll buy it for more, how does that hurt anyone?
I understand what
You
you're
see what I'm
saying.
saying? It's not like, we go into executive session because we want to talk about potentially buying something or selling something, and we're talking about the price. If the LDC is contemplating, the LDC, one thing you have to remember, like Gary said, it's far off. The LDC doesn't have the money to buy this building. There's no checking account they can write a check off of to buy this building this week. Now they have a plan and an idea and a desire to buy the building. Now they got to go find the money. Well, that's the longest road to hoe. That's a lot longer than the plan and the desire. So I think if their minutes have been open, I don't think there's any backlash. That's my point. And like I said, I'll address it with Kathy on Friday when I meet with her.
It did not come up in our meeting at all. I didn't know about it at the time that we met, and it did not come up.
Well,
That's it.
Anything else?
I don't have anything else. No, that's all I had.
Anybody else? Mike? No.
So I just mentioned the Arbor Day celebration. I did have a tree board on April 13th. The Arbor Day celebration, now mind you, it's going to be smaller because we're still in COVID. It's going to be May 1st. And it's going to be at 11 a.m. rather than 10 a.m. And like I said, it's going to be May Square Park. So Jean said that to make sure that I invited my board members and Deputy Crowley and Mayor Haddon. They're going to be planting 2 trees in Square Park. And then kudos our DPW guys. They're going to be driving to Chickles and picking up 13 trees. So the tree board is appreciative of John's team because they do pick up the trees every year about this time, just ahead of Arbor Day. And that's all I have for tree board.
Thank you.
Yep. Library board is tomorrow.
Nothing.
Meeting.
Planning board is meeting. They have one item on their agenda. It's Van Bortle, the old Corvette place that they're looking to fix up. Should be a good thing.
And that went before the tree board too. They looked at the plans for that. And they are meeting in person. Planning board.
Okay, myself, I have a resolution here. Supervisor Maron asked me to present to the board. It's for request and support from the Ontario County Board of Supervisors. Proposal from Consultants County-wide Emergency Services Society. We can have a discussion. Is there a motion? Possibly approved.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Bob.
I'll second.
Second by Carol. And then we discuss. So, yeah, I don't know specifically, he mentioned me briefly before I went away in the first week of April. So I did not get a chance because now he's been going out for a couple of weeks in Florida. I think he's back now, probably, right, Pam?
I have no idea.
I think he is, but I have not had a chance to really talk to him about it, but I think he basically wants to have the type of study that the town has done for our community on emergency services, only he wants it to be countywide. As you say, he's looking for support for the county board of supervisors to get proposals for this. So I assume he's sending this resolution to every municipality in Ontario County, including fire districts and.
Yeah, we voted on it tonight. Last Tuesday.
So this is a resolution of support, basically.
This would be, yes,
Just saying, we're on board, we support.
support the county, I mean, hiring a consultant to do emergency services study.
At no cost to us, he's saying.
At no cost to the village itself. And there's a cost to all of us as,
Oh, yeah.
as county taxpayers.
Always costs, but
We're all county taxpayers, but he wants to know how the municipalities, you know, whether they support the idea of doing this or not. So I guess just a few comments, not having talked to him personally about it. It seems like I don't know what discussion was at your fire district meeting, but it seems like a pretty meaty thing to try and do to get the whole county on board with, municipalities on board with doing some kind of, because I'm assuming they want some kind of consolidation out of this for emergency services. And whether it's,
Certainly in the resolution.
is it in there?
Yeah.
For fire protection and for ambulance services.
Right, consolidation.
Okay. And some of what's driving this is, the recent formation of Victor Fire District, the ongoing budget issues the Fishers Fire District has, and the volunteer ambulance corps coming to us, municipalities, proposing a district, not really a district, but something similar to a district, looking for municipal financial support so that they can keep operating. So in the resolution here, it says, whereas within the towns, villages, cities in Ontario County, this is the second statement, there are 11 ambulance services and 28 fire district and departments. That's quite a statistic, those two statistics. You wouldn't think that there'd be 11 different ambulance services in Ontario County operating, serving Ontario County. And 28 fire districts and departments, so. So anyways, anybody? have
Why
any-
wouldn't we think there'd be 11 ambulance districts?
I wouldn't. It surprised me.
I guess what did the fire department vote?
When they vote?
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, I guess my thing is sure, it's a great idea. Absolutely. I mean, nobody could argue, but we did it in Victor and it didn't work. So now we're talking about doing it throughout the county. And the county has much different needs. I mean, I got to believe the people in South Bristol don't have the same needs as the people in the town of Victor. So, and I say that because I think that's where the ambulance folded, right? I think they shut up shop on their ambulance services in either Bristol or South Bristol.
Could be.
So I mean, again, it sounds like a great idea, but I guess I look at it in segments before I looked at it in the county. We couldn't agree in Victor on what to do. So, and spent 2+ years looking at it.
Only places I know that does it. I mean, there are places like they do. I don't know, New York State can do this now. Pennsylvania does it. And so does Florida. So in Florida, the county, schools, police, fire departments, highway, DPW, they open the whole, run the whole America. To try to start now.
Well, I mean, that's the way it was when I lived in Ohio too, but there was a couple things about it. It was great. Except every year it was called Regional Income Tax Adjustment, and you got a bill. Above and beyond your property taxes, to cover any shortfalls. So And I would like to know the legality. Let's say it says, yes, we got to have, one Victor Fire Department. Well, if Fisher says no, who can make, and again, I'm not saying Fisher would say no, I'm just using this as an example based on past history. If Fisher said no, who would make them reevaluate that? Because if there's no authority to reevaluate that, and I gotta believe Fisher's is probably the most expensive department in the county. If they're not willing to play, why do the study? That would be my take on it. So.
I do know that Fisher has made some overtures for Victor's fire district.
Yes.
So they may have changed their
We've seen that
mind,
dance before
Yeah, but
some kind of consolidation.
in this room.
like, to Mike's point, you know, you're not gonna go to your ambulance or of course say, okay, you guys gotta merge with, Canada Agua. Or vice versa, and who's forcing to? I mean, if they're making money, they're not making money, I mean.
Well, and the thing is,
Smart thing to
even
do, yes.
if you take the money out of it, right? Like the ambulance meetings I've been in the past couple of years, the ambulance is saying they need more income to operate. They're not banking money.
Just to stay afloat.
Yeah, they're looking at more money to operate on a day-to-day basis. And so how would consolidation help that? You see, because my ambulance company is telling me there's more need, there's more calls, and that's why they need more money, to reach a certain level of service that they feel comfortable with. So I just don't see how you can make it smaller. And maybe other parts of the county you can make it smaller. But I would be willing to bet, maybe this is the need for the study, but I'd be willing to bet that there's not too many places who feel that they're getting too much service. Whether it's fire or ambulance, like, oh man, our ambulance goes nowhere. I just, maybe maybe it's too myopic, but I just don't see that, that viewpoint.
We don't know that anybody's saying they haven't had much service, but the ones who don't know. If they can make a way.
Well, so again, now this is gonna sound bad. It's gonna sound bad, and I know there's people listening, but that's not gonna help Victor. Because because we're the footprint. No, but what I'm saying is if Gorham and Cheshire need more services, who's gonna pay for it? Residents from town Victor?
It would appear everybody.
Well,
I think that's the general.
I think this is, the study has to figure some of that stuff out. I guess that's the reason for the study. If you figure some of it out, how you would spread the cost out, and then we're saying they need more, you don't have the volunteers, so you gotta have paid personnel. Yeah, how do you figure out the cost of that? And how you pay for it?
yeah, it's hard because there's different viewpoints, like when and the ambulance people put on a fantastic presentation, and from a personal standpoint, I feel I'm much more likely to have to call the ambulance in my life than the fire department. I hope to call neither, but I feel, and having an elderly parent, I've used the ambulance service here in Victor, more times than I wanted to in the past decade. But it's where do you draw the line? Like they're talking the difference between 92% of calls being answered and 98% of calls being answered is a big financial jump. And 98 is still not the same as 100. So you've got the chance of being the guy who got the winning lottery ticket on a day, got struck by lightning, and called for an ambulance, and all three are, so it's hard. I wouldn't want the job. I wouldn't want the job to do the study. I wouldn't want the job to figure out the finances behind it. But
I would see them do the study. I don't think I think it's money well spent if they do the study. Enforcing it, coming up with something, but who knows what they're gonna come up with, but they'll know more and you talk more. And so I did favor.
Anybody else have comments? I'm just gonna I'll be brief, but I'm gonna read the resolution. So whereas for the 2019 United States Census population, Ontario is 109,777 people and encompasses 18 towns, villages, city. And whereas within the towns, villages, cities in Ontario County, there are 11 ambulance services and 20 district departments. And whereas the 2021 individual town, village, city, district tax rates for these services range from 34 cents per thousand to $3.46 per thousand for fire protection, and 28 cents per thousand to 42 cents per thousand for ambulance services. And whereas towns, villages, cities are seeing dwindling trained, certified volunteers for fire and ambulance services, and are moving towards paid career department services. And whereas the Ontario County of Supervisors recognize the evolving needs of the fire and ambulance services for increases in paid personnel, equipment service costs, fees, taxes, and their impact on the taxpayers of Ontario County. And whereas the Ontario County Board of Supervisors wishes to solicit proposals from qualified consultants for the evaluation of a county-wide plan for fire and ambulance services in order to evaluate potential consolidation of these services with regards to qualified personnel, response equipment, and other potential shared services components. Now therefore be it resolved that the Victor Village Board of Trustees supports the Ontario County Board of Supervisors in the commencement of a study to evaluate the potential for a county-wide fire and ambulance plan. Be it further resolved that each fire and ambulance entity in Ontario County be offered the opportunity to review the findings of the study. That's the resolution before us. We have a motion and a second. Other discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Okay, besides that, under my report, I do want to, I sent you guys an email, I can print it out, an email that I received from Assemblyman Jeff Gallagher's office. From one of his employees, Alexis. And it is regarding the Marijuana Regulation Taxation Act. So, the reason I start a discussion tonight, it doesn't have to come tonight, it's gonna be probably an involved discussion, is that there is the ability for local governments to opt out of the provision. So we can actually say no to having a licensed shop here, if you will, for the sale of it. And on-site consumption license. So the email details that opt-out provision, which we want to give you guys time to look at. And we would have to pass a local law to do so. It's my understanding, and you look at this maybe a little detail than I did, but it's my understanding that it would require a permissive referendum to do so. And I don't know, I looked at the whole act, whether it also requires a public hearing, but I don't think so. It's requiring just a permissive referendum. As we know, permissive referendum is a 30-day, is it 30-day? 30-day time period for public comment on an issue. So there's lots of food for thought. I know there are municipalities who I believe have maybe already opted out. And the timeframe, I remember right, is 9 months from the date of the passage of the legislation by the state of New York, or December 31st, whichever occurs first. But for our purposes, I don't want to wait until December 30th to make a decision on it. So Mike and I had a brief discussion ourselves on this. But you know, we have some authority, some power to say no, but we also have the authority to maybe regulate if we say yes, regulate where, how, and what circumstances, you know, time, place, and so forth, that it can be. And on the flip side of it, the issue is going to be that if the municipality decides not to participate, opts out of this, then there will be no sales tax revenue comes to a sale of that throughout the state. Or the county, however, is, you know, collectively distributed. So that's, you know, there's a financial decision. I think there's an ethical decision maybe, and some practical components to both. I don't know if anybody's got any immediate thoughts or comments. I know you probably haven't had time to really look this over.
Gary, would this decision be similar to the old days when a village or town would opt to be dry and not sell liquor, for example, not allow bars and liquor stores within? It's sort of the same thing.
Makes sense.
Philosophy.
Makes sense.
You've got some control over what you have.
Yeah, I know there's still, I don't know if there are any towns in New York.
There are a few. I think it is diminishing the number, but I think there's still a few.
The most glaring example that comes to mind is Lynchburg, Tennessee, where Jack Daniel's whiskey is produced, is a dry town. That's interesting. But anyways.
If I can jump in, I don't know anything about the analogy between.
And Reed's talking.
Yeah, sorry about that. I don't know anything about the analogy with dry towns. I don't have any experience looking at that issue. And I haven't seen the statute itself, and I didn't see Jeff Gallman's essay or article on it. So if you could forward that to me, I'd be grateful. But I did see an article on it, and I do think that it is a matter of a permissive referendum. It's a matter of just making a decision that you don't want to allow it in the village. And it is something that has to be done essentially before the end of the year.
Thanks, Reed. We sure copy of it.
I am getting a ton of echo tonight, more than ever. So I don't know what the issue is.
Well, as the beginning of the meeting, we're having a little difficult, and it's not the fault of anybody. It's just not really equipped yet.
I think that's correct. If I can comment on the technical issue, I think that at the beginning of the meeting, things are a little bit clearer, and as the meeting goes on, it's my sense, and maybe I'm wrong, that there's board members who just leave their microphones on, and that contributes to the echo. And there are other board members who never unmute, and that makes it hard to hear them. I don't know if we can manage to deal with that, but that's what I see as part of the problem.
That's a good point, Reed. We probably need to state at the beginning of the meeting as a reminder of us to stay muted unless you speak.
Well, you don't have to say, you never have to be muted. You just have to have your speakers down. So, like, I have my speakers. Did you hear me talking?
I can.
I mean, other times during.
I have, yes.
Yeah, so I've had my speaker off the whole time, but I never muted myself. So. But I just turned my speakers on so you guys could hear Reed. I saw him talking in the background like a bad sci-fi movie, struggling.
I was gonna say, that's the problem, is that you can't hear him if you can't have your speakers down.
Right. Well, we'll work on this, get some technical advice, and hopefully be better next time. Thanks for the comment, Reed.
So, Reed, I'm gonna turn my speaker down. Wait for me if you have to talk, I'll turn it back up.
Okay.
All right. So here's my take on this. I've heard, so the mayor has presented us with an opt-out, and the lawyer's presenting us that we have to opt out. Okay, if I was in the legislature, I would have voted no. I'm not in the legislature. Okay, I work for local government, and I think leaving this tax money on the table is a big mistake. But, so I think before we talk about opting out, we've got to talk about where this board sits on opting in or opting out.
Yeah, to your point, it's a discussion not just about opting out, but this is what was presented to me from the Assemblyman's office, because he did opt out. He did say vote no. But there's also, I believe, a link here that you can go and see the entire legislation. Then you can take a look at that, and take a look at this, and you can formulate an opinion. How do you think we should go? And I think that's our next steps.
I mean, my personal take, again, I would have voted no, but my personal take is if Victor people have the opportunity to go buy marijuana and get taxed for it in Fairport, Farmington, or Harnick Falls, or Mendon, then we're losing out on tax revenue. So that's.
What we're gonna look at, sure.
It's not going to be,
Anyways, I don't know if anybody has any other comments.
Reed has a comment.
I was just going to say, it is not a legal issue. It's a political one. So take it for what it's worth, guys. But it's not going to be an easy call because unfortunately, you know, if you had a larger community that you were governing, it's a different story. But you've got such a small geographic area that, I mean, you know, to try to limit where it's going to be sold within the village, it's going to be upfront and present. On the other hand, passing up on tax revenue, exactly as Mike says, it's going to be a tough call if you can go right down the road and buy it anyway.
Yeah. Twilight zone. All right. Any other comments, anybody?
So we'll decide later.
Yeah, I mean, I think, I know I want to do a little more research on this legislation and read this through and so forth. I'm sure there'll be more opportunities for discussion. And you might want to talk with residents. I would say it's a pretty good idea. Or business owners in the community and see what the pulse is. If you had the opportunity to do that. And I also would like to talk to Jack Marin in the town of Victor. Find out how they feel. So
we have to, I think we should put it on the calendar on a given day. I think December 31st is going to come a lot faster than people think it is.
Yep.
So I don't think we should leave this meeting without have something on a future agenda for it.
I think we should at least talk about it every other meeting. Unless there's a need to talk every meeting about it. I don't know if that makes any sense, but I don't want to go, to your point, I don't want to go too long, say, you know, we'll talk about it in June, because by then, you know, we may have lost track of whatever your train of thought is, or whatever your experience is in the community with, you know, responses. So if, let's put it this way. If somebody has something they really want to speak about regarding this issue for the next meeting, just let us know. We can put it on the agenda for the meeting. And we'll just go meet the meeting. Does that sound all right?
Well, it doesn't work best for my personality, no, but
What do you want?
I would like a date that we agree to
make a decision?
to make a decision for or against, with giving us time to then, whatever that decision is, to be in compliance with the law. Yeah, so I mean, if it goes for, we gotta be in compliance this way. If it goes against, we gotta be in compliance this way by the end of the year. So, I mean, I think, realistically, I think by, the first meeting in July, we should know if we're for or against this.
That sound fair?
Seems reasonable.
I agree.
Okay.
And then you go from there.
I was even gonna say end of June,
Yeah, well,
because then if you go first week in July, or you have to have people's vacations or things like that. End of June, puts us 2 months out.
the first Monday in July is a legal holiday. What's our meeting for then?
Tuesday.
The fourth is on
Sunday.
what, Sunday? So the fifth.
So we'll meet on the legal holiday, or we'll meet on the 6th.
So the legal holiday is the 5th?
Yeah.
Meet on the sixth.
Okay.
So that's the date we'll vote on this.
Or do you want to back it up one to Michelle's? Michelle's making it sound like she ain't gonna be here.
No, I didn't say that.
No, she didn't say it. She made it sound like it. That's what I said. So,
If that date is approaching, and somebody's gonna be away, because I don't know, maybe we're gonna go to Tennessee, see my granddaughter, then we can change that. But it's gonna be within that time frame.
okay.
End of June.
Right.
I'm sticking to it.
Okay.
All right. Okay, I don't think I have anything else.
Oh, I just had one. So I clicked on that link that's in this. This is just a full bill.
Right.
Did Gallahan also have an article? Or?
I'm not aware of an article.
Okay, all right, because I thought Reed said something about an article. All right, maybe I misheard. All right.
No, he said he read an article.
Oh, he read it. Okay, thank you.
Reed, any other issues you want to talk about?
No, I don't think so.
Thanks. Thanks for your patience with us tonight, and thanks to the public for your patience with us especially. We will do better. Anybody else got any other business? Not motion to adjourn?
Right, motion.
Motion by Bob,
I'll second.
second by Carol, all in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.
All right. JT, I have 2 questions. They're quick ones. Did you put in?
Did he have,
You have to pay that.